Welcome back to our generic crafting tutorial series. In this bonus video, I'm going to go ahead and add a button in the transfer tile that resets its value back to 0. Because if you notice during our video, if you have a full stack of 999 and you hit max, well, it goes up to 999, but the only way to go back down is to completely exit out of uh, the widget. And we don't really want to do that. We want to have a nice min button here. Or we want to be able to edit the text block. So I'm going to do probably both of those here. I'm just going to make another button next to decrease. This is the decrease one. And we're going to call this 0 or min, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call this 0. That way we just kind of have a way to zero that back out. And instead of using text here, you could actually use an editable text. So we are going to probably replace that. Let's just see if we can right-click replace with. Replace with editable text. And hopefully that will work out for us. We want to bind the hint text to the amount. I think it should be the hint text being bound to the amount anyway. We might have to bind the text to the amount. I don't know. We'll find out. So on our text block 0, on clicked, we are going to set amount to 0. So let's duplicate amount. And we're going to go ahead and set cost back to base value. So I'll set cost base value. That way we don't get any kind of weird lingering cost issues when we click this button. That's all we really need to do for 0. On the editable text, and this should be on text committed, or maybe on changed. We might have to experiment around with that. We need a way to make sure that this text is a number. So in order to check and see if this text is a number, we need to use something called is numeric. And that's going to work on a string. So we'll just have to pass it through to a string. And that should convert it properly. I hope it converts it properly anyway. So we're going to use this is numeric, which, as the detail says here, checks if a string contains only number characters. And if it does, then we're going to get this as int, let's say 2int. I guess we'll just build the integer. I feel like we could just take the text instead and probably plug that in. No, I guess not. So I guess we'll just do this to integer. If we have issues, right, we might want to build it. So we might want to do like a build int. And that is also going to hopefully change the text inside of this box, which we only bound to amount to hint text. Hopefully that is going to change amount there. And we also need to do this little bit of logic here, where we multiply the amount times the base value for the new cost. And hopefully that works out the way we want it to. So let's go ahead and find out. I don't actually have a lot of any items, so I'm probably going to have to buy some. Let's say chicken meal. Okay, it did. It kept it at 50. But if I put in 50 here, it's kind of faint. I don't know if I like how faint that is. What if I put in 20 here? Okay, that's not bad. And if I put in 0 here, and it's still considering it 1. So that is a slight overhead. Cost should be 0 at 0. It's my bad on that. And editable text. I don't really like that it is doing that. So let's just bind that to amount and see how it looks. I really don't like how faint it is though. Let's go ahead and check again. Max, now it is at 50, 20, and if I move this, okay, good, it's going to keep on binding it back to whatever that value is. Okay, so that's good. That's a pretty good quality feature, I think, anyway, of how to kind of go through and make this just a little more user friendly. Maybe you want to put a slider in here instead, or some other method of increasing and decreasing the amount. But I think this is kind of probably fine for most use cases, unless you're absolutely using a controller. That is a problem though, right? We didn't maximize check, so we need to make sure we do a maximize check as well. Good thing I tested that. So we need to make sure that this amount here before we set it equals the quantity of the item or less. So we're going to control duplicate that. We're going to take the quantity, or I guess we'll just take this amount. Let's see if it's less than or equal to the quantity, and I will run a select here. Pick A. So if it's less than or equal to the quantity, we'll pick A. If it's not less than or equal to the quantity, we'll pick the quantity. And that should make sure that we always max it out here. So if the player somehow enters 60 into that text, and the vendor only has 50, it should go to 60, so I'll add 80. Okay, it's 50. We'll add Fastiva. Okay, it's going to go back to 50. What if I zero this out first and I say Fastiva? Good, it went back to 0. So that is perfect. If I add a couple zeros here, it's still going to snap it back to 50. It's never going to let me go over 50 because that's all this vendor actually has. So that's cool, right? That's good. That's all we really need to do here. The only other thing would be maybe if you have your buttons here with our max and our increase and our decrease, I should say, not our max. Maybe on pressed, we do something where we delay for a second, or I should say on pressed and on released. I think we could do this, and I think we could do event tick. And I think we could say, we could add like a boolean here for increasing or decreasing, branch that condition. So when the button is pressed on increasing, we would add the boolean. Let's just go ahead and do that. Let's give it a try. Why not? B increase and B decrease. So on pressed increase, we're going to set that, and on released decrease, or on released increase, I should say, we're going to set that. We're just going to check on increase. We won't do it on decrease, since I don't plan on having this in my game. So on our event tick, right, if increased is pressed, we want to do delta time. We want to take our amount. So we're going to get amount. We want to increase our amount. And if you're going to do this, you probably want to make like a little custom event for increase and decrease amount. If you're going to be doing a lot of different ways to do it. That way you don't have to do this plus every time. To make sure that this is clamped between the maximum amount, like we do here. I'm not too worried about it though. I'm just kind of testing to see if this works. So if increase is pressed, I'm just adding 1 to the amount and setting the amount. And hopefully that works while it's pressed and stops working while it's not pressed. I don't think that's going to work though. That's going to increase it a lot. It's going to increase it every tick. So it's going to like instantly be all the way up. I guess that works. I mean, it goes really fast. It goes really fast. So yeah, maybe we'll want to like delay a second. Right? Maybe we want to come in here and delay a second. Or have like another way to delay. Just 2 ticks or something to slow it down a little bit. Okay, that slowed it down quite a bit, maybe a bit too much. So maybe it was good on tick, right? Maybe you want it to be super fast on tick, or maybe you just want 0.05. I think that would probably be a fast value that's not too overly fast. I think doing it on tick was probably plenty fast. Yeah, 0.05 is nice, right? That's a nice, pretty quick amount there, right? Yeah, I think that's probably fine for most use cases. So if you want to do something like that, you'll just want to make sure that you're clamping that value and not allowing it to go infinitely. Right, so you'll just make sure you're clamping it like we did up here. Something that's totally up to you. I'm not going to do that. I don't really feel like I need to do that. I don't really care enough to do that. But if that's something you want to do, that is another way to kind of change the amounts being processed here and make it a little bit snappier. Something I've noticed as I've been going along here is that if we don't have an EX level, this still gets appended, and that kind of bothers me like a lot. So I'm gonna just make a little selector here. So we're still gonna keep this. It's gonna move down here. I'm gonna select my string, and if enhancement level equals 0, I'm going to pick A, and if it does not equal 0, I'm gonna pick B. And if it's A, we no longer need this EX. We no longer need this. We're just going to take the item display name and the amount and pass that right in through. Because it was really bothering me that EX0 was showing up. Just kind of like a little thing, I guess. It was grinding my gears. Let's just make sure that we did the same thing here. So item display name, we're not actually passing the amounts in the transfer tile, and that's because the amounts are all being increased and decreased here. So I think that's fine. Let's have a quick look-see. Yeah, my quartz rings are all EX1, and my steel ore is just giving me not the amount. I don't know why it's not giving me the amount, because I have hundreds of these. So let's see what we did wrong. Let's see. Oh, I plugged in enhancement level. I need to be plugging in quantity. Scroll through here, and yeah, now I've got my quantity in there. That looks a lot better to me. I don't think it matters too much with transfer tile. Yeah, it doesn't matter too much with transfer tile since we are going to be doing this center value here anyway. So I'll quit that, and there was one more thing in here that I wanted to make sure of. I don't think I covered this in any of the videos. Let's just check real quick. And that is in our W, not inventory, our W crafting widget. I think when we enhance items, for some reason we did not check to see if we are actually having a 0 enhancement core. So we need to find that and check it real quick. So on our craft, if we are enhancing, we want to make sure that the amount to craft is actually not 0. But I think it's probably honestly just fine if we just run another branch here. We're going to take this amount to craft. And we're just going to see if this is greater than 0. That way if this is greater than 0, we don't actually do anything, or we can do anything. If it's not greater than 0, we just need to add some kind of event log here that says you got to use at least 1 core. We'll just give it an error title. So that's just, yeah, I think that's fine. That's just a little something in there that I totally forgot to check while we were doing our gameplay here. So let me just go pick up the Smith class, and I'll probably just open up my player, give myself an enhancement core and a sword just to check. So we'll open up our player. And we'll use our debug key 1. Add to inventory 99999. Quantity of, let's just say 10. Enhancement level is going to be 0. And we'll just duplicate that. And I think sword was 5,000, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll just say 5,000, and hopefully it's 5,000. And then give it the enhancement level of 1, so it is enhanceable. And when I press 1, we should be getting... okay, enhancement cores all added themselves to... they did not add themselves properly. I'm not entirely sure why that is. It's an NA item. Oh, because I added an extra 9. Whoops. So by the way, that's what's going to happen if you don't have the item in the data table. It's going to give you that. So maybe a check there would be nice. But since we don't save when we do that debug key 1, it didn't save that. So we don't have to worry about going in and discarding them. There we go. We added 2 enhancement cores. And let's just go ahead and check and make sure that we can't use 0 real quick. So I guess it helps if I have the ingots as well, doesn't it? And we should probably do something with enhancements to make sure that the crafting type is actually available. We see here that it's giving us these rings, and those are jewelry bench rings, so we shouldn't be able to enhance them here. I don't actually have iron ingots, so we'll refine our iron ingots. And I messed this up so bad that everything is giving me an infinite loop now. But we didn't actually do that in a video yet. I'm still kind of limit testing this. So hopefully if I just decrement instead, it'll let me do it. And maybe I'll just remove that. So I wanted to optimize this a little bit, but we totally broke it in the process. You know, these things happen. So, yes, I have my ingots. Yes, I have my sword. Let's use the bench. Hopefully we didn't break it too bad. Iron ingots. Oh, I guess I already have it. So we're just going to come in here and we're going to say, all the way down to the bottom, iron sword. Use at least 1 enhancement core, so that's good. It's not removing the items from my inventory, and if I do enhance it, it does remove the items from my inventory. So now that we've seen that, let's actually go ahead and go into our filter event here in our crafting widget. And I guess we didn't make sure that our populate enhancements was properly only doing the items of the type of the bench. I totally flubbed that and forgot it. So let's go ahead and knock that out real quick. This bonus episode shouldn't be too long. We're going to get the item ID. We're going to get the item type, crafting type. And we're just going to make sure that that is equal to, equal enum, the crafting type that we put in for our whole thing. So we're just going to add that as a pin to the and. And that should cover that. I can't believe I forgot to do that. So it's a good thing we tried to check this out and tested. That way we now know that that was showing up the wrong stuff in enhancements, right? So yeah, now we have our gold helm and our iron sword, so that is great. I can enhance my iron sword by 1. My gold helm, I still only have 1 enhancement core, but I don't have any gold ingots, so that's fine, I think. That looks perfectly fine to me. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this bonus video. And if you have any more questions or comments about the project as a whole and want to see some bonus videos on them, Let me know down in the comments section below. If you're enjoying the videos so far, I urge you to join our Patreon. For just $3 a month, you'll get access to all of the videos in this series as soon as I create them. Always available on Patreon, always free, and ready to go. You'll also get a copy of the example project so you can follow along step by step with a real visual guide in the project.